Shalom, everybody. We are in 1 Kings, roughly page 347 in the scriptures. Get your Bible out, read along. I am your brother bear, not your pastor, not your friend, not your rabbi, your priest, your preacher, your whatever. Just a guy with a Bible, encouraging you to be a guy or a girl with a Bible. Get them out, read along, follow the bouncing ball. There is ambient noise today because there are fans in the background and it's raining, so I've moved my microphone as close to my atrocious dome as possible. And we're going to read 1 Kings 1 and perhaps 2 together. So we've been dealing with the final days of King David until this point, back here in 2 Samuel 23-24. And so 1 Kings picks up in chapter 1 with, and sovereign David, King David, was old, advanced in years, and they covered him with garments, but he could not get warm. And so his servants said to him, let them seek for our master the king a young woman, a maiden, and she shall stand before the king and be his companion, and shall lie on your bosom, so that your master the king gets warm. Kind of a handmaiden slash maybe concubine, but as we'll see, not the case. And they sought for a beautiful young woman in all the border of Israel, and found Abishag the Shunammite, and brought her to the king. And the young woman was very beautiful, and she was a companion for the king, and served him, but the king did not know her. And Adonijah, Adonijah, son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, I reign, I'm the king now, bro. Because David was old. Got to have a handmaiden to help him out, right? And he prepared for himself a chariot and horsemen and 50 men to run before him. Now his father had not worried him at any time by saying, why have you done so? He was also very good looking, and he was born after Absalom. Remember, Absalom was dead, so he's next in line. Remember, David was very good looking. This guy, by the way, is a son of David. David was very good looking. Absalom was very good looking. And apparently this dude as well, Adonijah, was also very good looking. And he was next in line after Absalom, who got killed by Joab. And he talked with Joab, son of Zeruiah, and with Abiathar the priest, and they supported Adonijah. But Zadok the priest, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and Nathan the prophet, and Shimi and Ray, and the mighty men who belonged to David were not with Adonijah. There was a split. Dude starting to not necessarily start a coup, but usurper to the throne time here. And Adoniyahu, there we go, Adoniyahu slaughtered sheep and cattle and fatlings by the stone of Zoheleth, which is in En-Rogel. He also invited all his brothers, the king's sons, and all the men of Judah, servants of the king. So he had a giant party, win people over, build rapport. But he did not invite Nathan the prophet, or Benaiah, or the mighty men, or Salomon, his brother. Nathan then spoke to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, saying, the prophet Nathan, saying, have you not heard that Adonijah, son of Haggith, has become king? And David, our master, does not know of it? And now come, let me give you advice and deliver you your own life and the life of your son Solomon. Go immediately to King David and say to him, did you not, my master, O king, swear to your female servant, saying, certainly your son Solomon shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? Why then has Adonijah become king? Look, while you're still speaking there with the king, let me, Nathan, come in after you and confirm your words. And Bathsheba went into the room of the king. Now the king was very old, and Abishag, the Shunammite, was serving the king. And Bathsheba bowed and did obeisance to the king. And the king said, what do you wish? And she said to him, my master, you swore by Yahweh your Elohim to your female servant, saying, certainly Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. And now look, Adonijah has become king, and now my master the king, you do not know about it. And he has slaughtered a great number of bulls and fatlings and sheep, and has invited all the sons of the king, and Abiathar the priest, and Joab the commander of the army. But he did not invite Solomon your servant. And you, my master, O king, the eyes of all Israel are on you, to declare to them who is going to sit on the throne of my master the king after him. So David, you said that Solomon was going to be king, but instead Abiyahu is taking the reign for himself. Otherwise it shall be, when my master the king rests with his fathers, that I and my son Solomon shall be considered sinners. Meaning that the moment that David dies, this Abiyahu is going to go ahead and kill Bathsheba and Solomon. Now we know that David and Bathsheba got off on a very rocky start, but it certainly seems that he loved her. He took care of her. He made her his wife, one of. And see, while she was still speaking with the king, Nathan the prophet also came in. So they informed the king, saying, "Here is Nathan the prophet." And when he came in before the king, he bowed before the king with his face to the ground. And Nathan said, "My master, O king, have you said, Adonijahu shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? For he has gone down today, and has slaughtered a great number of bulls, and fatlings, and sheep, and has invited all the king's sons, and the commanders of the army, and Abiathar the priest. And look, they are eating and drinking before him, and they say, let King Adonijahu live." So Nathan comes in now to just kind of put the bow on all this. He's like, "Hey, just checking, did you make this other son king? Because they're sure acting like he's king." Water, the beverage of warriors. That's my new song. You guys love it? I knew you would. "But he has not invited me," this Adonijahu, Nathan speaking, "but he has not invited me your servant, nor Zadok the priest, nor Beniyahu the son of Yehoiada, nor your servant Solomon. If this matter is from my master the king, then you did not let your servant know who should sit on the throne of my master the king after him." And King David answered and said, "Call Bathsheba to me." So she came into the king's presence and stood before the king. And the king took an oath and said, "As Yahuwah lives, who has ransomed my life out of all distress, even as I swore to you by Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, saying, certainly Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne in my place. Even so I do this day." And Bathsheba bowed her face to the earth and did obeisance to the king, and said, "Let my master King David live forever." And sovereign David said, "Call me Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Beniyahu son of Yehoiada," who was an instrumental part of David's special forces. Also, Bear, you trimmed your beard. Sure did. It's July. One does not need 8 pounds of beard on their face when it's July. And they came before the king, and the king said to them, "Take with your servants of your master. Take with you the servants of your master, and you shall have Solomon my son ride on my own mule, and take him down to Gihon." Interesting. King Solomon riding King David's mule. Where else do we see something like this? "And there Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet shall anoint him king over Israel." Interesting. "And blow the shofar and say, let King Solomon live. And you shall come up after him, and he shall come and sit on my throne, and he shall reign in my place, for I have commanded him to be ruler over Israel and over Judah." And again, here we have the differentiation between Israel and Judah, the beginning of this two-house system. Judah being the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Benjamin, and the Levites, and Israel being everybody else. "And Beniyahu, son of Yehoiada, answered the king and said, Amen! Yes, sir! So says Yahuwah Elohim of my master the king. As Yahuwah has been with my master the sovereign, so let him be with Solomon, and make his throne greater than the throne of my master King David. Then Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Beniyahu the son of Jehoiada, and the Kerethites and the Pelethites, remember them? Mercenaries. And the Kerethites and the Pelethites went down and had Solomon ride on King David's mule and took him to Gihon. So look at the symbolism here. You've got David's son on David's mule with David's priest and the prophet and the general, basically Beniyahu, the leader of his special forces, and basically David's private guard, personal guard of mercenaries, all going down to Gihon to anoint Solomon as king and to blow the shofar. The symbolism is huge here. It all confers David's blessing onto Solomon. Not the optics of this are massive. Adonijah threw a party and invited the men of Judah and basically the less loyal people in David's court to the party, whereas Solomon is riding the king's mule, surrounded by the king's people and the king's protectors. There's a clear contrast here. And all the people. And Zadok the priest took a horn of oil from the tent, the tabernacle, and anointed Solomon. And they blew the shofar, and all the people said, "Let King Solomon live." And all the people came up after him. And the people played the flutes and rejoiced with great joy, so that the earth was split by their noise. Wow, music again? Interesting. And Adonijah and all the guests who were with him heard it as they finished eating. And Joab heard the voice of the shofar and said, "Why is the city in such a noisy uproar?" And he was still speaking. Then see, Jonathan came, son of Abiathar the priest. And Adonijah said to him, "Come in, for you are a brave man, and you bring good news." But Jonathan answered and said to Adonijah, "No, negative, sir. Our master King David has made Solomon king, and the sovereign the king has sent with him Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Beniyahu the son of Jehoiada, special forces, and the Kerethites, the mercenaries, and the Pelethites, the mercenaries and private guard." And they had him riding on the king's mule. So think about, you're Adonijah, you're like, "Yeah, man, let's party, I'm king now." And then the son of the priest who sided with you shows up. He's like, "Hey, bro, we got a problem." And Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet have anointed him king at Gihon. And they have gone up from there rejoicing, and the city is moved, and the people are backing him. This is the noise you heard. And further, Solomon sits on the throne of the king. And further, even more so, the servants of the king have gone to bless our master sovereign David, saying, "Let your Elohim make the name of Solomon better than your name, and his throne greater than your throne." And the king bowed himself on the bed. And the king also said thus, "Blessed be Yahweh Elohim of Israel, who has given one to sit on my throne this day while my eyes see it." So not only is all of this going on, but David blesses it as well. And all the guests who were invited by Adonijah, all the people at this party who were supporting Adonijah, were afraid and rose, and each one went his own way. They bugged out lest they be caught in support of this pretender to the throne. It's all about power. This is almost Machiavellian at this point. And Adonijah was afraid of Solomon, and rose and went and took hold of the horns of the slaughter place. So he went to the temple, the slaughter place in front of the temple, and grabbed hold of the horns that were on it. There were horns on the corner of each. Basically latched onto it like, "Please don't kill me." And it was reported to Solomon, saying, "Look, Adonijah is afraid of King Solomon. And look, he has taken hold of the horns of the slaughter place, saying, 'Let King Solomon swear to me today that he does not put his servant to death with the sword.' And Solomon said, 'If he proves himself a worthy man, not one hair of him is going to fall to the earth. But if evil is found in him, then he shall die.' And King Solomon sent, and they brought him down from the slaughter place. And he came and fell down before King Solomon. And Solomon said to him, 'Go to your house.'" So Solomon, we're going to come back to 2 here in a minute. I just got to get a drink of water. But Solomon is already operating with authority. He's already employing some personal horsepower here. And we're going to see a little bit more of that in chapter 2. Solomon's got some pull. He's got some, what's the word they use? Some chutzpah. Chapter 2. And the days of David drew near to die, and he commanded Solomon his son, saying, I am going the way of all the earth, and you shall be strong and be a man, and guard the charge of Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways, to guard his laws, his commands, his right rulings, and his witnesses, as it is written in the Torah of Moshe, so that you do wisely all that you do, and wherever you turn. Gosh, that sounds awful familiar. So that Yahweh does establish his word, which he spoke concerning me, saying, if your sons guard their way to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their being, with all their soul, saying, there is not to cease a man of yours on the throne of Israel. So this is not only prophetic towards the reign of Solomon, but it's also prophetic towards the reign of Yeshua, who comes out of he's the branch of Jesse. Jesse was David's daddy. He's prophesied by David in the end of 2 Samuel. A king of Israel who rules with righteousness. And what does it say here? Guarding the way of Yahweh, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their soul. It sounds awful like Deuteronomy 6. Where are we? Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. There we go. Deuteronomy 6. And this is the command, the laws, and the right rulings which Yahweh your Elohim has commanded to teach you to do in the land which you are passing over to possess, so that you fear Yahweh your Elohim, to guard all his laws and his commands, which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, all the days of your life, that your days be prolonged. And you shall hear, O Israel, and you shall guard to do, that it might be well with you, and that you increase greatly, as Yahweh your Elohim, the Elohim of your fathers, has spoken to you, in a land flowing with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our Elohim, Yahweh is one. And you shall love Yahweh your Elohim, the Lord your God, with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign upon your hands, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. Alright, just a slight parallel. Back to 1 Kings 2, verse 5. And also, you know, this is David speaking to Solomon. Also, you know that Joab, the son of Zeruiah, what he did to me, and what he did to the 2 commanders of the armies of Israel, to Abner, the son of Ner, and to Amasa, the son of Yether, that he killed them and shed the blood of battle in peace, and put the blood of battle on his belt that was around his waist, and on his sandals that were on his feet. So, act according to your wisdom, and do not let his gray hair go down to hell in peace. That's a mighty word. Act upon your wisdom, and do not let his gray hair go down to hell in peace. But show loving commitment to the sons of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and let them be among those who eat at your table. For they came to me when I fled from Absalom, your brother. And see, with you is Shimi, son of Gera, the Benjaminite from Baharim, who cursed me with grievous cursing in the day when I went to Menahaim. But he came down to meet me at the Jordan, and I swore to him by Yahweh, saying, I shall not put you to death with the sword. And now, do not leave him unpunished, for you are a wise man, and know what you should do to him, and shall bring his gray hair down to hell with blood. David's making sure there's no loose ends, as before he passes, he's making sure his son Solomon has the intel he needs to operate. And David slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David, Jerusalem. And David died. I love that term. And David slept with his fathers. And the days that David reigned over Israel was 40 years. He reigned 7 years in Hebron, and in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. And Solomon sat on the throne of his father David, and his reign was firmly established. And Adonijah, son of Haggith, came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, and said, "Do you come in peace?" And he said, "Peace." And he said, "I have a word for you." She said, "Speak it, son." And he said, "You know that the reign was mine, and all Israel had set their faces towards me, that I should reign, that I should be king. But the reign has been turned around and has become my brother's, for it was his from Yahweh. And now I am making one request of you. Do not refuse me." And she, Bathsheba, said to him, "Say it." And he said, "Please speak to King Solomon, for he would not refuse you, to give me Abishag the Shunammite as wife." And Bathsheba said, the handmaiden to David. And Bathsheba said, "Good, let me speak for you to the king." And Bathsheba came to the king Solomon to speak to him for Adonijah. And the king rose up to meet her and bowed down to her, and sat down on his throne, and had a throne set for the sovereign's mother. So she sat at his right hand. And she said, "I am making one small request of you. Do not refuse me." And the king said to her, "Ask it, my mother, for I do not refuse you." Then she said, "Let Abishag the Shunammite be given to Adonijah your brother as wife." And King Solomon answered and said to his mother, "Now why do you ask Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah? Ask for him the kingdom too, for he is my older brother, for him, and for Abiathar the priest, and for Joab the son of Zeruiah." And King Solomon swore by Yahweh, saying, "Elohim does so to me, and more also, if Adonijah has not spoken this word against his own life." So it seems like here, this simple request on the half of Bathsheba enrages Solomon, that Adonijah would request the handmaiden of his dead father as wife. And it also seems like Solomon feels betrayed by his mom. He says, "Why don't you go get Joab? Why don't you go get Abiathar the priest? Why don't you go get them too? I'll just hand this whole thing over to them." And now as Yahweh lives, who established me and set me on the throne of David my father, and who has made me a house, as he promised, Adonijah shall be put to death today. And King Solomon sent by the hand of Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and he fell upon him, and he died. That's it. No more Adonijah. Then the king said to Abiathar the priest, "Go to Anatoth, to your own fields, for you deserve death. But I do not put you to death at this time, because you did bear the ark of Master Yahweh before my father David, and because you were afflicted in all my father was afflicted in." So Solomon dismissed Abiathar from being priest to Yahweh, to fill the word of Yahweh, which he spoke concerning the house of Eli at Shiloh. And news came to Joab, for Joab had turned aside from Adonijah, though he did not turn aside from Absalom. And Joab fled to the tent of Yahweh, and took hold of the horns of the slaughter place. So Joab's like, "Oh snap, here we go. Time to go give the slaughter place a hug so Solomon doesn't kill me." And the report came to King Solomon that Joab had fled to the tent of Yahweh. And see, he is by the slaughter place. Then Solomon sent Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, saying, "Go fall on him." So Benaiah came to the tent of Yahweh and said, "Thus said the king, come out." And Joab said, "No, for here I die. No way, bro. If I come out, you're going to kill me." And Benaiah brought back word to the king, saying, "Thus said Joab, and thus he answered me." And the king said to him, "Do as he has said, and fall upon him. And you shall bury him, so that you take away from me and from the house of my father the blood which Joab shed without cause. Thus Yahweh shall return his blood on his head, because he had fallen on 2 men more righteous and better than he, and killed them with the sword, while my father David did not know it. Abner, son of Ner, commander of the army of Israel, and Amasa, son of Yether, commander of the army of Yehuda, of Judah. So shall their blood return upon the head of Joab, and upon the head of his seed forever. But upon David and his seed, upon his house and his throne, there is to be peace forever from Yahweh. That's also ties into Yeshua. Then Beniyahu, son of Yehoda, went and fell upon him, Joab, and put him to death. And he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. This is very likely the wilderness of the Sinai Peninsula, southern half of the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. But I don't know for sure. And the king put Beniyahu, son of Yehoiada, in his place over the army. And the king put Zadok the priest in the place of Abiathar. And the king sent and called for Shimei, and said to him, build yourself a house in Jerusalem. This is the guy that was chasing David down the road, cursing at him. Build yourself a house in Jerusalem and dwell there. And do not go out from there anywhere. And it shall be on the day that you go out and pass over the Wadi Kidron, for certain know that you shall die. Your blood is on your own head. And Shimei said to the king, the word is good. As my master the king has said, so your servant does. So Shimei dwelt in Jerusalem many days. And it came to be at the end of 3 years, the 2 slaves of Shimei fled to Achish, the son of Maacah, king of Gath. And they informed Shimei, saying, see, your slaves are in Gath. Hey, we found those people that ran away from you. So Shimei rose up and saddled his donkey and went to Achish at Gath to look for his slaves. And Shimei went and brought his slaves from Gath. And Solomon was told that Shimei had gone from Jerusalem to Gath and had come back. So the king sent and called for Shimei and said to him, did I not make you swear by Yahweh and warn you, saying, know for certain that on the day you leave to go anywhere, you shall certainly die? And you said to me, the word I have heard is good. And why have you not guarded the oath of Yahweh and the command that I gave you? The king also said to Shimei, you shall know all the evil that your heart has known, that you did to my father David, and Yahweh shall return the evil on your own head. But King Solomon is blessed, and the throne of David is established before Yahweh forever. So the king commanded Beniyahu, son of Yehoiada, and he went out and fell on him, on Shimei, and he died. And the reign was established in the hand of Solomon. So nothing like a little intrigue and bloodshed to make sure that the king is firmly seated upon the throne. That's going to do it today, 1 Kings 1 and 2. I appreciate y'all. Hey, whip out your own Bibles, read your own word. Thank you for reading along with us, but never let the time that we spend together be a replacement for the time that you spend in the Father's word. Bless y'all. Shalom.